green. I'm just going to do some painting, some more painting on my background. Okay. So this is our canvas right here. I have the clouds on there. I usually use a mixture of Phthalo Blue and Ultramarine Blue. And I forgot to write that on my palette that I do have Ultramarine Blue next to the Phthalo Blue. I kind of put them together, and I'll be mixing them to the side, so I have plenty of room to do that. And I'll try to show you as we go along. There, that's good. That's much better. Okay, I'm going to be putting in the trees. And I want to use a smaller brush. I have here a 3-inch round. You could use a liner brush if you have to. It's going to be more impressionistic, okay? So I'm not going to try to make a ton of very, very fine lines like in the painting. I mean, in the picture. It is a photograph. And I'm not going to try to make it very realistic. I'm going to try to make it a little bit more impressionistic, okay? Trying to see if I can get this on here. Here's my burnt umber. And put a little water in there. And I might mix it with a little bit of ultramarine blue just so that it's not such an obvious brown here. Okay, so that kind of greened it up just a little bit. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing right here, okay? I'm going to be putting some trees in the background up here in the sky area. Just putting a little bit of some, they have it where it's very, it's rustic looking, and they have it where it looks like November. It looks like it's between the fall, like the leaves have fallen off of the trees already. So I want a little bit of that look to it. And the reason I have it a little bit more green than I have brown at the top is because I really don't want it to look too close up looking. Might stick a little yellow in there just to give it, yeah, I like that even better. There we go. Just don't want it to look too close up looking, so. I'm just putting some hash marks. I like that a lot better. So my mixture here is burnt umber. The majority of it's burnt umber. And then I grabbed a little bit of ultramarine blue off of this edge. And then just a little bit of cat yellow off of this corner here. And then it just gave it more of a very muted green. Okay. And that's what I'm trying to do here. Do some more up here. I want it, they have it kind of even. Grab a little bit of burnt umber, another dot of ultramarine, and another dot of cad yellow. So, and they have like in the background, even more in the background. They have some some trees that look like they're setting really far back here. So you can't even tell that they're trees really necessarily until we get a little bit more with the, little bit more of the painting in here. Then you'll be able to tell. Okay. And then this is a little bushier. A little bit at the top, you can see some branches. But then it's a little bushier later on here. A little more dense. There's going to be some green put through here. And I'm going to purposely put the green in not early. I don't want it to look that perfect. This isn't the best brush. I think I'm going to switch brushes because this brush is a little too much. Seems like it's more for watercolors. It's a little too soft. It's not giving me what I want. So I'm going to switch brushes here. Get some of the water out. Okay. Okay, that's a little better. A little burnt umber, touch of yellow, touch of blue, touch more of yellow. Now, opposite colors mute your colors out. It grays it out. So you see that I have, there you go. And I might put a little touch of red in there too. That would really do the trick. There we go. There's the stiff brush I'm looking for. So I'm just turning a little bit, just turning it. I have a little background here. And I have some more in the picture. I have some more little bit higher trees. And I'm just bouncing it on there. I couldn't do it with my other brush. It was just too soft. I was like, what's going on? Okay, that's more like it. A little more dense here. And these go up a little higher. And this is more background here. And these are trees that are like a little separate. There we go. Yeah, this is much better. Okay. Then I'm going to try to get this green grass in here. So I'll lighten this up. I'm putting this with the dark green that I had. And I'm going to kind of go across right here. Show this grass area. Did you see how it just kept it from being so perfect? See, kind of going through here. Get that grass area. And then I'm going to get some more of the shrubbery, the trees, and that kind of stuff too. There we go. And we want to come down a little bit more right here. Adds a little interest. The way the photographer set this painting up, it made it more interesting. There we go. Okay, so that's the background. I'm going to make it a little bit more solid. A little more burnt umber, just a touch of that. More yellow. And a touch of green. Touch of that. Okay, that was way too light. Okay. All right. I have to wet my brush. I can use that wet spot right there. Okay. Now I'm going to go over this again. There we go. And then there's a place in there where it's a little lighter that's toward the back. I kind of want to keep it that way. So I'm just going to go in here and just get a little bit of that where the light's showing. This is my cad yellow I dipped into. So this is all blending together. Then there's a little light spot here. See where the light is hitting it, where the sunlight is hitting it? And then it's, I don't want to go too, if I go over it too quickly and don't give it enough time to dry, then I'm going to get in trouble with it lifting. Okay, so still I haven't wet my brush again yet. I have enough water on my palette. I dipped into the burnt umber, and I'm going to try to go over and get a little bit more of the shrubbery right here with my burnt umber. I'm using the very tip of my brush, using the tip of that. And this kind of goes down into the water a little bit. So I want to keep that look. Okay. Looks a little closer because it's darker here. In the background, you saw I had a little bit more of that greenish color from mixing the yellow with a touch of the ultramarine blue, and it gave that treed area a little bit more of a lighter greenish color in the background. So I'm doing that just to make the painting look a little bit more where you could see what's in the background. You could see the perspective a little bit better. Now I'm dipping into the brown, and I'm putting more of the stems in here for the trees. Okay, and a little bit more in here like that. A little more impressionistic, so it's not that exacting. And I feel like for fibromyalgia that really does help when you do that, when you have a little bit more of a freestyle. Now I'm going to come down a little bit and grab those trees closer to the bottom area to bring the close-up ones a little closer here. And then I'm going to kind of give that a little bit of a branch. And then, of course, then we have this edge where the trees are, where they're coming down here. So. Okay, now brush is a little dry. That's what's giving me a little bit more of a thinner edge to it. And then I'm kind of dividing this, giving the burnt umber still going across, just the straight burnt umber going across a little bit, going into here a little bit. I don't know what's happening with my voice. Okay. And see where I have a little, now I want that to look a little, putting a tiny bit more of the ultramarine blue in there, and then dipping it a little bit with what I had left over, that mixture of the burnt umber. Had a little green in it already. I take advantage of what I already have mixed on the palette instead of starting from scratch all over again. And I wanted to, just with the very top edge, I'm not slanting at all. It's a, what is it, a 90-degree angle? 90-degree angle on this brush. Somebody just asked me recently about fan brushes and, you know, different style brushes, and those come in handy for some things, but you don't have to use them for everything. Okay. So that has almost too much of a tropical look to it. I'm trying to get rid of that. It almost looks too green, so I might go in there with some white and get rid of some of that with a little bit of the white brush. But you see the scenery in there. You see that background in there. So I kind of like that. That's working out really well. What I'm going to do too is I'm going to drop down here into this area and then start a little bit on that landscaping too. Okay, so this is going to be where the side of the boat's going to rest. I'm going to use that while I have this mixture. I have some browns and some greens. I might as well take advantage of that. Okay, so I'm going to get a little bit of a, lighten this up a little bit. I think I'm going to put a little bit of titanium white in there so that it's not so dense looking. Give it more of a little tan look to it. So here's my little titanium white. I don't know if you could see that. But I'm just going to touch my titanium white and then grab a little bit of this burnt umber. Grab a little bit on the very edge of this titanium white and then bring it over here and then lighten this up a little bit. Yeah, that's it. Lighten it up, and I think I'll grab just a teeny bit of yellow. Okay, so that it's not so brown, so stark brown. Okay, maybe just a touch more white. So it still has a little green in it, which is fine. It's going to have some, there we go. It's going to have some, I'm going to brown that up, don't worry. It's going to have some grasses. And it's going to have some, so I wanted a little yellow. I didn't mean to grab so far in there. I hope you're following me. And just a touch of ultramarine blue. So I can give it a little bit of a greenness. Okay. And then here's my grasses over here. I'm going to have some grasses. But yeah, I'm going to have a little bit more of that brownish color in here. So a little bit more of the burnt umber. Still have my green on the brush. Okay. It's just changing to different shades of green. Just, you know, this is a very brownish light green. Okay, so I'm putting some more of that in here where the grass is. And this has some yellow in it because it's the light's hitting it. So I want some more of a lighter tan to it. There we go. So I still haven't rinsed my brush. I think I'm needing some water though. Just a little bit. This palette paper gets very wet very fast. You have to get used to that. So sometimes I get it a little too wet and I have to add a little bit more more pigment. All right. I'm not going to worry too much about this because you know what? I'm going to have to keep going into this. I'm going to go into this again after I add the water because the water is going to cover up some of this. Okay. I don't like the square, so I'm making mine a little bit more so it's not squared. Okay. I wanted mine to be a little bit more like that. Just adds a little more interest instead of squaring it off at the top. Okay. Then get some of this water off. Add a little bit more brown in there. A little more brown right here. Okay. Okay. And a little bit more yellow right here. Okay, try not to do like you see me accidentally doing, and that's going directly on top of the little dabs of paint, because then you'll contaminate the whole thing and you won't have any yellow left, especially the yellow, because yellow is very translucent, and man, you'll change that whole thing really easily. So, okay, that looks pretty good. All right, like I said, we're going to go back. We're going to revisit this with some of those greens. But I wanted to do that before we put the water in, okay? And then we're going to be adding the boat, the water, the boat. And you know what? I'm not crazy about the white grasses in there. I might put some more of a reed type thing, like a longer grass in there instead of the little short white ones that we saw in the photograph. I'm not too keen on those. You could do that if you want. I'd like to get some input from you, but for me, I like the wispy, the long wispy. I think that'd be a lot prettier. Okay, so I'm gonna pause here. And you might not notice the pause, but I'm going to pause here because I'm going to do just what I tell you guys to do and keep these little painting sessions at short intervals. Okay? All right. Thank you.